Hello students, let us today discuss the notes of the poem Schoolboy. In your question paper, you will get questions of 1 mark, 4 marks and 6 marks. Here we'll discuss 4 marks and 6 marks questions. Comprehension 1 is of 1 mark. You can study the poem and answer them. Try to answer all the 1 mark questions. I will be discussing comprehension 2 and 3. Comprehension 2, first one. What does the schoolboy love to do on a summer morn? What drives his joy away? On a summer morn, that is morning, the schoolboy would like to rise early when the birds sing. The distant huntsman blows his horn and the skylark sings with him. He considers all these to be the sweet company. But he is not allowed to do this as he has to go to school. Means he wants to be in the sweet company of a skylark, huntsman, and other birds. In other words, he wants to be amidst the nature. But he is not allowed to do so because he has to go to school. And the thought of going to school drives his all joy away. So, as soon as the thought of going to school comes to his mind, the very thought of going to school drives all his joys. Second one, describe the boy's experience in the school. The boy's experience in the school is full of fear and discouragement. I told you the school atmosphere is very authoritative, very strict, and that makes the child to, to get scared of school atmosphere. The boy spends his whole day in fear and discouragement. The authoritarian way of teaching makes the boy sigh in dismay. His boredom and fear are reflected in the drooping manner in which he sits and the restlessness that he exhibits. Once he sits drooping his shoulders, drooping shoulders tell us that the boy is not interested in anything. The books give him no joy, and the school makes him feel worn out. According to the poet, next one. According to the poet, how does formal education curb a learner's potential? Potential is capacity, learning capacity. Everyone has learning capacity, but this formal education, what the poet speaks of, it curbs the potential of a learner. And how does it happen? Formal education curbs the potential of the child as it takes away from the child its freedom. The child is like a caged bird in school, and just like the wings of the caged bird droop, the spirit of the child sags in school, which instills in the child a sense of fear. Children, like plants, need to be nurtured and given care if they are to ripen successfully and bear fruit later on. So, if you want the child to grow like a plant and flourish or give fruits later on, they have to be nourished properly in childhood. If children are not allowed to have a natural childhood, which is spent in playing freely among the natural things like hill, hills, meadows, lamb, birds, etc., then they will wither before they blossom into mature adults. Spring stands for new growth, and that is why the poet uses the metaphor of the spring to to argue that a school does not allow spring to flourish. Comprehension 3. First one, formal education not only takes away the joy of childhood but also hinders the child's growth forever. Explain. To highlight the point that formal education not only takes away the joy of childhood but also hinders the child's growth forever, the poet equates the season of the year with different stages in life. He points out that what happens in childhood has its impact on adulthood and old age. He questions as to how there can be growth in summer if the buds, blossoms, and plants themselves are destroyed in spring. If summer is bereft of fruits, naturally one has no defense against the blasts of winter. So, if the buds are taken away, are destroyed in the young age when they are growing, how can the plant grow into a tree and bear fruits? Similarly, the child has to be given freedom to be amidst nature so that it should have a natural growth which helps in the growth of child physically, mentally, and emotionally. In other words, the poet tells us that a happy childhood makes adulthood and old age pleasurable. So, your adulthood and old age depends on the quality of your childhood. But if the childhood itself is devoid of joy, there is nothing to look forward to in the adulthood and old age. Thus, the poet makes it crystal clear that childhood experiences are very important to lead a happy life, and schools have a major role to play in determining whether childhood experiences are conducive to growth or not. Do you think the poet is arguing against education? Discuss. No, he is not against formal education. Usually, or many a times, the poem has been taken in a wrong way that the poet William Blake is arguing or he is against formal education. But it is not like that. Blake is not against formal education. The poet is not against education, he is only against unhealthy practices in education. The unnecessary rules and regulations which curb the potential, the capacity of the child to learn, he is against that. He makes it clear that education should be offered in a free and healthy atmosphere. Children should not be made to feel like caged birds. They should not feel insecure and restless. They should not find the whole experience of learning to be dreary and dull. There should be enough opportunities to tap their creative potential and turn them into productive human beings. Thank you.